The wind outside the spire was thin and cold, even though Virion SIX's atmosphere was carefully controlled. Commander Alara May stood at the edge of a landing pad high above the city, her black uniform blending with the shadows. Below, the capital stretched for miles, hoverways buzzing with transport drones, towers glowing in faint blue light, and alien crowds moving through layered streets like rivers of motion. Alara wasn't here to admire the view. The Grand Galactic Union's central archive stood tall in front of her, a massive structure of obsidian and gold alloy, protected by plasma fields and silent guard drones. It wasn't just a library. It was a vault for things the Union didn't want people to remember, especially things about the past. She pressed a small device on her wrist. A ripple of static shimmered across her suit. Cloak engaged. Infiltration time, 8 minutes, maximum. Vox, the AI installed in her Neuralink, spoke calmly. Local security cycle rotating. You have 90 seconds before the next patrol drone returns. Proceed. Alara moved fast, stepping through the side gate she had disabled earlier. Inside, the air was dry and smelled faintly of old data cores. She knew exactly where to go. The restricted wing, level 12, Sector 7A. Files marked Human Epic. Everything about humanity had been classified centuries ago. What little remained in the public archives were myths, wild stories about a warlike race that vanished into darkness. But Alara had reason to believe humans didn't vanish. They left. She reached the core chamber and knelt by a data port. Her wrist device connected with a soft chime. Dozens of files blinked onto her retinal HUD, locked and layered with old encryption. Found them, she whispered. Project Lightfall. Earth Exodus. Fleet Echo. Incoming patrol, Vox warned. Alara copied everything she could. She wasn't surprised when the files referenced coordinates far beyond the Union's borders. Deep space. No known systems. A region most called the Outer Drift. There were mentions of ships, thousands of them, hidden inside something called a Dyson Veil. The vault lights suddenly flashed red. Unauthorized access detected, a synthetic voice boomed. Prepare for detainment. Alara cursed and yanked the chip free. Security doors slammed open. 2 drones floated in, weapons aimed. She rolled to cover, fired 2 precision shots, and dropped them both. More would be coming. Rerouting to Hangar 9. Fastest exit path available, Vox said. Alara sprinted down a corridor, heart pounding. She slid beneath a rising barrier and burst into a side hangar. A sleek Scout-class ship was docked there, hers. She launched it without full clearance, tearing into the sky as alarms echoed behind her. In orbit, her ship flew low between Jeju satellites. Vox masked their signature as they vanished into deep space. On Virion 6, High Consul Trevik Vial watched the alert from his private chamber. His purple-skinned face darkened as he reviewed the stolen file logs. Human fleet, he muttered. So the legends were true. He turned to his assistant. Send a black order. Find her. Kill her. Burn whatever she found. In the quiet cockpit of her ship, Alara stared at the coordinates on her screen. A cold, distant sector. No registered colonies. No beacon signals. Just emptiness. Or maybe, something waiting. I need answers, she whispered. And I think the past is about to wake up. The stars stretched endlessly ahead as Commander Alara May sat in the pilot seat of her scout ship, the Sable Ghost. The hum of the engines filled the quiet, broken only by the soft flicker of her navigation screen. Coordinates from the stolen archive pulsed gently, leading her far beyond charted Union space. It had been 3 days since she escaped Virion 6. In that time, no ships had followed, no messages intercepted. Vox, her onboard AI, ran cloaking systems nonstop. Still, Alara knew she was being hunted. Trevik wouldn't sit quietly. The moment he saw those files, she became the most dangerous person in the galaxy. And all because of one word. Human. Vox's voice echoed in her mind. Destination approach. Fringe outpost Delta, 9. Low population. Hostile environment. Presence of registered independent researcher, Rallo Sarn. Alara leaned forward. He's still alive? Confirmed. Last communication ping received 42 days ago. Delta, 9 wasn't much to look at. A dying moon orbiting a red dwarf star, its surface cracked and rusted, littered with old mining equipment and scattered domes. No active Jeju presence. No patrols. Perfect for secrets and outcasts. She landed the ship near a crumbling observation dome and stepped out, the dry air biting her skin through her suit. The place was quiet. Dead quiet. She followed the beacon signal to a pressure door, tapped twice, then twice again. A moment passed. The door hissed open. Inside, she found a hunched figure surrounded by stacked data cores and glowing crystals. An old man, thin, with a mechanical eye and fingers stained with ink and circuit grease, looked up and blinked. "Alara Mace," he said without surprise. "I've been expecting you." Rallo Sarn had once been a professor on Zero Prime, one of the top historians in the galaxy. He lost everything after speaking too freely about forbidden history. Now he lived in exile, where only forgotten minds dared go. He poured Alara a cup of steaming blue liquid as they sat across from each other. "You're lucky to have made it this far," he said. "The Union doesn't like people chasing ghosts." "I found the fleet," Alara said quietly. "Or at least, something pointing to it." Rallo's hand shook slightly as he set down his cup. "So it's true. The Dyson Veil exists. I need to know what it is. And why humans disappeared." He stood, walked to a dusty cabinet, and pulled out a cracked data tablet. On the screen appeared a wireframe of a vast sphere, miles wide, wrapping around what looked like a void in space. "They didn't disappear," Rallo said. "They built that. A hiding place. A vault. A weapon. No one knows for sure. But the ancient files spoke of 10,000 ships. A final fleet. Humanity's last defense." "Why would they hide?" Alara asked. "They were the most advanced species in the known galaxy. They burned too bright," Rallo said. "Too fast. The galaxy feared them. Feared what they'd become. Wars followed. Whole systems turned against them. In the end, humanity chose silence over extinction. They vanished behind the veil. They said they'd return when the stars were ready." He looked up at her, eyes tired but sharp. "You may have triggered their awakening." As Alara prepared to leave, a proximity alarm flared inside the dome. "GEG beacon detected," Vox said. "Stealth drone in orbit. One signal only, tagged as Black Order." Alara's pulse quickened. Trevik's hunters had found her. She turned to Rallo. "You need to leave. Now." The old man smiled faintly. "I've been ready for this moment for years. Go. Finish what they began." Outside, Alara ran back to the sable ghost under the orange glow of Delta 9's dying sky. Overhead, a sleek GEG stealth drone hovered, scanning. Before it could lock on, Alara fired up the engines and shot into the upper atmosphere, burning through the clouds. Laser fire streaked behind her, close, too close. She dove, rolled, and vanished into hyperspace. High above Virion 6, Trevik stood in a darkened control chamber, hands behind his back. "She's moving toward the outer drift," his advisor said. "Let her," Trevik replied. "Let her wake them. Then we'll show the galaxy why humans should have stayed dead." Inside her ship, Alara watched the Starline streak by. She clutched the tablet Rallo had given her. It showed only one phrase, burned into the code of the Dyson Veil. "When the stars forget us, we will return and remind them." The stars around Alara slowly faded into a gray mist as her ship dropped out of hyperspace. The region known as the Outer Drift stretched before her, an expanse of dead systems, forgotten anomalies, and silence. It was the kind of space most travelers avoided, not because of danger, but because nothing lived here. But something had lived here once. Something still might. Alara's ship glided forward, engines low. Her eyes were locked on the glowing coordinates from Rallo's tablet. She adjusted her course toward a cluster of ancient satellite debris and empty rocks, floating like silent tombstones in the void. "Approaching target zone," Vox said. "No signals detected. No active life forms. Energy readings, minimal." "Minimal?" Alara asked. "Correction. Shielded. Artificial energy signature, deep, dense, and buried." Alara leaned forward, her pulse rising. There was something here. She activated the long-range scanner. At first, only empty static returned. Then, the static bent, folded, and revealed. From the shadows of the void, an outline began to appear. At first, she thought it was a planet, but it wasn't. It was a structure. Massive, perfectly round, coated in dark panels and lined with gold wiring. It stretched hundreds of miles across, an artificial sphere surrounding a dark zone of space. "The Dyson Veil," she whispered. It looked like a cocoon, a silent egg floating in the dark. Vox broke the silence. "Receiving signal. Unknown language. Pattern matches ancient Terran code. Translation possible. Play it." A voice came through, deep, layered, old. "Human, but not quite. Identity match. Genetic pattern partial. Clearance granted. Initiating legacy recall." Suddenly, the sphere cracked. Not broken, opening. Massive panels peeled back like flower petals in space. Behind them, Alara saw them. Ships. Thousands. lined in perfect rows, suspended in grav fields. Each one larger than a city, black and silver, with markings she didn't recognize, symbols from Earth's forgotten past. Some were sleek, others blocky and angular, each a unique shape, but all part of one fleet. Her ship drifted silently through the opening. Vox dimmed all power, entering stealth mode. Alara stared in awe. This wasn't just a fleet, it was a city of ships frozen in time. Scanning active cores, Vox said. Ship reactors powering up. Slowly. All systems responding to your presence. But why me? Alara whispered. The ship's comms activated again. The same voice returned, clearer now. You carry Earthspark. The Watchers have waited. Time has come to return. A burst of white light spread across the chamber. Alara shielded her eyes. When she looked again, one ship in the center of the sphere had activated fully. Lights blinked across its hull. A docking platform extended toward her. Vox, she said, voice tense. Take us in. The sable ghost docked with a gentle click. As Alara stepped off the ramp, her boots echoed on ancient metal. Inside, the ship was warm. Lights flickered on as she moved. Screens lit up. One displayed Earth's last known flag. Another showed a line of names, commanders, leaders, dates, all ending in 2561 AE, after Exodus. This ship was called Echo Prime. A humanoid figure stepped forward from the shadows. Not a person, but an AI projection. It looked human, dressed in a sleek dark uniform, face calm and neutral. Welcome, Commander Alara Mace. We have been waiting 800 years. I need answers, she said. What is this fleet? What happened to Earth? Why did you disappear? The AI tilted its head. Earth faced extinction. Not from enemies, but from fear. The galaxy feared humanity's strength, and so we chose silence over war. We built the veil. We preserved what we were, and waited for a sign to return. That sign is you. Alara stared at the glowing map that appeared between them. Stars, systems, fleets, and Virion 6. Return, she asked. As in, go back? Yes, the AI said. The galaxy has forgotten who we are. We will remind them. Far away, in the Grand Galactic Union's High Command Tower, panic was spreading. Trevik Vial stared at the emergency reports coming from the outer drift. 10,000 ships, whispered one officer. All human origin. Massive energy surges. They're moving. Trevik's hands trembled slightly. He closed the data pad and turned to his advisors. We have a threat beyond anything we've known, he said coldly. Prepare the fleets. Begin the fear campaign. Make every system believe this is an invasion. Sir, his second-in-command asked, what if it's not an invasion? Trevik's eyes narrowed. Then we'll make it one. Back in the Dyson Vale, Alara stood at the center of a bridge that hadn't been touched in centuries. Lights blinked. Engines hummed. Her presence had triggered a chain reaction. The humans had returned. And the galaxy was already afraid. The human fleet moved like shadows across the stars. From the moment they emerged from the Dyson Vale, 10,000 ships shifted into formation without a word. They made no threats, sent no demands. They simply appeared, silent, organized, undeniable. Across the galaxy, that silence screamed louder than any war cry. The Grand Galactic Union's emergency networks lit up with red alerts. From the outer colonies to the core worlds, broadcast screens and comm towers began to repeat one word: humans. On Virion 6, the capital shook not from attacks, but from fear. High Consul Trevik Vial stood in the Union Command Hall, watching as dozens of system feeds streamed across the walls. Governors, military officers, and alien ambassadors all demanded answers. What did they want? One shouted. Where did they come from? Asked another. Are we under invasion? Trevik raised his hand. The room quieted. We don't know their purpose, he said, calm and cold. But we know their past. Humans left the galaxy in fire. Their return means one thing: conquest. He turned to the cameras streaming live to every Union planet. This is not a myth. This is not a drill. The humans are back. We must stand united. Fear spread faster than fact. In deep space, Alara May stood on the bridge of Echo Prime, watching the fleet unfold across her navigation map. Each ship had reactivated its systems and synced with a new command channel linked to her. I didn't come here to lead a war, she said quietly. Your presence has triggered the legacy protocol, Vox replied. Fleet assumes awakening equals command. You are now the highest-ranking human present. She didn't feel ready. She didn't want to be a symbol. But the galaxy didn't wait. Already, Vox was intercepting broadcasts, news clips, rumors, and military movements from the Union. Jeju patrol fleets were mobilizing. Civilian transports were fleeing major cities. Some border systems had declared emergency lockdowns. One report caught her attention, a protest on the planet Yalara Prime. A crowd of aliens stood in the square, holding signs written in dozens of languages. Let them speak. The past deserves a voice. Another report showed warships being loaded on Zarnak. 3. Trevik's voice echoed across the feed. They will not catch us off guard. Alara's jaw tightened. If we don't speak now, they'll attack first. She walked to the communications station. Vox, prepare a system-wide broadcast. Open all civilian channels. Warning, this will reveal your identity to all known factions. I know. Do it anyway. A moment passed. Then the signal went live. Across 1,000 systems, screens blinked. Every major city, colony, and station saw the same image. A woman standing on a human warship, calm, clear-eyed. My name is Commander Alara Mace. I was born in the colonies, raised on stories of a past buried by fear. Today, I speak for that past. She paused, letting the silence hold. Humanity did not vanish. We chose silence. We left the galaxy not in defeat, but in hope. We built the Dyson Veil to protect what remained of us. We waited, not to conquer, but to return when we were needed. Images flashed behind her, old Earth cities, faded flags, soldiers and scholars, explorers and dreamers. We are not myths. We are not ghosts. We are human, and we are home. The feed cut. The galaxy reacted. On some worlds, people cheered. On others, soldiers locked down streets. Messages flooded the Union's networks, some begging for peace, others calling for war. On the moon of Larthus, an old alien diplomat whispered to his son, I told you they'd come back one day. But in the halls of Union power, Trevik was furious. She dares to speak peace while flying a war fleet, he growled. She must be silenced before the systems turn against us. His generals hesitated. One stepped forward. Sir, what if she's telling the truth? Trevik's eyes burned. Truth is what we decide. Prepare the intercept fleet. Set course for Virion 6. If they want to speak, they'll do it with our cannons pointed at them. In space, the human fleet adjusted course, slow, precise, and peaceful. They didn't fire a shot. They didn't break formation. They only moved forward, toward Virion 6. And the galaxy held its breath. The sky above Virion 6 turned black. One by one, the massive human ships appeared in orbit, 10,000 of them. They didn't enter with speed or sound. They arrived in silence, like mountains drifting across the stars. Their hulls reflected the planet's glow, casting shadows over cities below. People stood on rooftops and in streets, staring upward. Some watched with awe, others with terror. No one spoke. The human fleet had arrived. Inside the Grand Galactic Union Command Tower, alarms were flashing. Officers scrambled to monitor ship counts, shield levels, and public broadcasts. High Consul Trevik Vial stood at the center of it all, silent but boiling with rage. Status, he demanded. Fleet confirmed. No weapons charged. No communication attempts, said a young officer. They're just hovering. Trevik clenched his jaw. This is a show of power. They want us to blink first. He turned to his generals. Activate planetary defense grid. Load intercept cruisers. We respond with strength. One of the older generals hesitated. But they haven't fired, sir. Trevik snapped. If you wait for them to fire, we'll already be ashes. Prepare the strike. Far above, on the bridge of Echo Prime, Alara Mace watched it unfold. The human fleet was in formation. No weapons had been activated. No fighters launched. They were ready, but peaceful. Vox displayed the incoming Union fleets. Hundreds of ships rose from the planet's surface, their formations tight, weapons hot. The Virion 6 defense grid came online, encasing the world in a glowing shield of energy. They're preparing to attack, Vox warned. I know, Alara said. Recommendation. Respond with power. A fleet-wide energy surge would demonstrate dominance without striking. No, we're not here to scare them. We're here to speak. Alara opened the communications console. Send one final message. Private channel to Trevik Vial. Message prepared. Speak when ready. She leaned forward. High Consul Trevik, this is Commander Alara Mace. I come in peace. I ask only for conversation. We are not invaders. But if you fire on us, we will defend ourselves. And we will not lose. She ended the message and waited. Minutes passed. Then Vox spoke again. Intercept cruisers moving into strike position. Targeting locked on Echo Prime. Primary cannon charging. Alara closed her eyes. She had come this far to avoid war. Now it was slipping from her hands. And then, a signal blinked. Unknown transmission. Origin. Union Capital Spire. Code encryption. Broken. Message attached. It was video. Alara tapped it open. Trevik appeared, standing at a podium, but not alone. Behind him, a Union officer held a weapon. Trevik was on his knees. His voice trembled. To all systems. I am Trevik Viel. I lied. Gasps echoed across the control deck. For years, I hid the truth about humanity. I spread fear to keep my power. But the truth is here now, and I cannot stop it. Commander Mace is not our enemy. The officer behind him stepped forward. The Union must change. Today, we begin with truth. The video cut. Suddenly, Union ships in orbit powered down weapons. Defense shields dropped. One by one, cruisers pulled back. Vox confirmed it. Threat level reduced. No hostile actions detected. Human fleet standing by. A moment passed. Then another signal came through. Open channel from Virion 6, Admiral Saran Kai. Alara froze. The name was listed in the fleet archive, one of the last great human commanders before the Exodus. She opened the channel. A calm face appeared on the screen. A woman, ageless and strong, wearing the insignia of Earth's final command. Alara Mace, she said. You have done what no one else could. You woke us. You spoke for us. And you gave the galaxy a choice. Alara stepped back, eyes wide. You're alive. Saran Kai smiled gently. We were never dead. Just waiting. And now, we've come home. The galaxy watched as the fleet began to land. Not with weapons. With people. Human ambassadors stepped onto alien worlds. Aid ships flew to struggling colonies. Trade channels opened. Peace envoys traveled to ancient rivals. Cities that feared fire instead welcomed light. Humanity had returned, but not with war. With memory. With strength. With purpose. Alara stood in the command deck, watching as Virion 6 shimmered below. She heard voices from across the fleet. Officers, scientists, explorers, all waking from centuries of silence. She smiled. The galaxy would never be the same. Virion 6 looked different now. The skies were no longer filled with panic. The fear that once gripped the capital had faded, replaced by silence and wonder. The towering structures of the Grand Galactic Union still stood, but the banners had changed. Not of conquest, but of unity. For the first time in centuries, humanity stood openly among the stars again. Alara Mace walked through the central plaza of the city, no longer hunted. Her boots echoed on the clean stone path. Around her, aliens of every species gathered. Zarnians, Vesh, Kordai, Trell. They watched her, whispered her name, and nodded with quiet respect. She had not just returned with a fleet. She had brought the truth back with her. Children pointed up at the sky, where a massive human cruiser hovered gently in the clouds. It cast a long shadow, but brought no fear. Instead, the people cheered. Trade ships flew in and out of orbit. Peace talks were underway in the old Union Council Hall, now rebuilt as the Galactic Assembly of Equals. Alara stopped at the edge of a quiet garden and looked up at the stars. Vox spoke softly in her ear. Fleet settling across 9 systems. No resistance reported. Alliance meetings ongoing on 5 core worlds. Reconstruction efforts on human colonies underway. Public response. Hopeful. Hopeful, Alara repeated, letting the words settle in her chest. It felt strange, too good to believe, but it was real. Status of Trevik Viel? In Union custody. Awaiting trial. Testifying willingly. Claims he wants to make it right. Alara didn't respond. Justice would come. But what mattered now was the future. She turned and walked back toward the new assembly building. Inside, the once grand war room had been transformed. Holograms of fleets had been replaced with charts of worlds needing aid. War maps were gone. In their place were plans for rebuilding trade, research, diplomacy. Saran Kai waited at the center. She stood tall, dressed in the old Earth Command robes, black and silver, but now bearing the new emblem of unity, a star wrapped in 3 rings. Commander Mace, she said, smiling as Alara approached. You've done what no commander, soldier, or politician could. I didn't plan this, Alara replied. I just followed the truth. That's why it worked. They looked out together over the city below. Kai continued, the fleet has awakened. But we don't need all of it. We'll keep the ships, yes, but not for war. For exploration, defense, support. Humanity's role now is not to lead, but to stand beside the others. Alara nodded. That's the future I want. Saran Kai turned to her. And you? What do you want now? Alara looked out the window again, thinking. The stars no longer felt empty. They felt wide open, full of stories yet to be told. Her mission was over, but something inside her still burned, a desire not just to watch history, but to shape it. I want to go back, she said at last. To where it all started. To Earth. I want to see what's left. Kai's expression softened. Then take a ship. Take a team. The homeworld waits. A week later, Alara stood on the deck of a new vessel, the Legacy Flame. Smaller than Echo Prime, but faster, sleeker. Designed for long-range travel. For discovery. As the ship rose into the sky, leaving Virion 6 behind, she looked at the stars one more time. Not with fear, but with purpose. The old myths were gone. The lies erased. Humanity had returned, not to conquer, not to rule, but to belong. She reached into her pocket and pulled out an old, worn badge, a relic from a forgotten age. It had once been Earth's symbol. Now, it was hers. She pinned it to her chest. As the stars stretched into starlines, Vox whispered in her mind. Course set. Earth. Estimated arrival 12 days. Let's go home, Alara said. And the ship vanished into the light.